Look at this footage. Paris, the city of light, cloaked in darkness. Swastikas defile ancient landmarks. The faces of Parisians, a mixture of defiance and despair. This was France in 1940, a nation brought to its knees, occupied, and divided. But even in the darkest of times, the flame of liberty was never truly extinguished. This is the story of how that flame was rekindled, how a nation rose from the ashes, and how France was liberated. It all began with a whisper, a secret passed in a darkened alley, a leaflet printed on a hidden press. The French resistance, ordinary men and women, teachers, farmers, students refusing to accept defeat. They derailed trains, destroyed bridges, and disrupted German communications, preparing the way for the inevitable Allied return. And then, from across the Channel, a voice of hope. From London, General Charles de Gaulle, a little-known officer who refused to surrender, broadcast his famous appeal on June 18, 1940. He declared, "Whatever happens, the flame of the French resistance must not be extinguished and will not be extinguished." This speech rallied the spirits of the Free French forces gathering around the world and gave hope to those suffering under occupation back home. De Gaulle became the symbol of a France that would not break, a France that would fight on. The seeds of liberation were sown, nurtured by courage and watered by sacrifice. June 6, 1944, before the sun rises, the largest amphibious invasion in human history is launched, Operation Overlord. Over 150,000 Allied soldiers, American, British, Canadian, and more, stormed the heavily fortified beaches of Normandy. The names echo through history: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, Sword. At Omaha Beach, the fighting is savage. American forces face a wall of German fire, and the cost is immense. Yet, through sheer grit and determination, they claw their way ashore. On other beaches, the landings are less costly but no less heroic. Paratroopers drop behind enemy lines, sowing chaos and securing key objectives. This is the beginning of the end for Nazi rule in Western Europe. The foothold has been won. Now, the bloody battle for Normandy begins. The fighting in the Norman countryside is brutal. The dense hedgerows, or bocage, create a deadly maze, perfect for defensive warfare. Each field, each village, has to be taken in vicious close quarters. Combat, the Allies advance slowly, paying for every inch of ground with blood. Casualties mount on both sides. Cities like Caen are reduced to rubble in the relentless fighting, but the Allied material advantage and air superiority begin to tell. After weeks of grueling attrition, American forces finally achieve a breakthrough with Operation Cobra, shattering the German lines and opening the path into the heart of France. The race across France is on. While the world's attention was fixed on Normandy, another crucial invasion was unfolding. On August 15, 1944, Operation Dragoon was launched. Allied forces, including a large contingent of Free French soldiers under General de Lattre de Tassigny, landed on the sun-drenched shores of Provence in southern France. Facing less resistance than in Normandy, they advanced rapidly. The strategic ports of Toulon and Marseille, vital for supplying the Allied advance, fell within days. The French First Army fought with distinction, liberating their own soil and proving the strength of the resurgent French military. This southern pincer move trapped German forces, forcing a hasty retreat up the Rhine Valley and accelerating the liberation of the entire country. The two Allied fronts were now destined to meet, squeezing the German occupiers from both the north and the south. As Allied armies raced across the French countryside, in Paris, the tension was unbearable. The resistance, sensing the moment was near, could wait no longer. On August 19th, Parisians rose up. Barricades, reminiscent of revolutions past, appeared in the streets. The French forces of the interior, the FFI, armed with a motley collection of weapons, bravely attacked German garrisons throughout the city. The fighting was desperate. The German commander, von Choltitz, was under direct orders from Hitler to leave Paris a smoldering ruin. The world held its breath. Would the most beautiful city on earth be destroyed? General de Gaulle pleaded with the Allied High Command. French soldiers had to be the first to enter their capital. Reluctantly, Eisenhower agreed. He dispatched the French 2nd Armored Division, led by General Leclerc. On the evening of August 24th, a small vanguard of Leclerc's division reached the city hall. The next day, August 25th, the main force, alongside American troops, entered a city delirious with joy. Snipers still fired from rooftops, but it didn't matter. Paris was free. The bells of Notre Dame, silent for 4 years, rang out once more. The German garrison formally surrendered. The image that defines this moment is General de Gaulle, tall and impassive, marching down the Champs-Élysées, surrounded by a sea of cheering, weeping, ecstatic Parisians. It was a symbol of national resurrection, a moment of pure, unadulterated triumph. The liberation of Paris was a powerful symbol, but the war was far from over. Vicious fighting continued in the east, particularly in the Vosges Mountains and Alsace-Lorraine, regions that had been annexed by Germany. The advance was hard and the winter of 1944 was brutal. French and American soldiers fought side by side in grueling battles to liberate cities like Strasbourg and Colmar. The final German pockets of resistance on the Atlantic coast were mopped up, slowly, painstakingly. The last vestiges of occupation were cleared from French soil. The Allied armies pushed on, crossing the Rhine and driving deep into Germany itself. The final victory was now in sight. On May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered unconditionally. The war in Europe was over. Across France, crowds poured into the streets once more, not just for a single city, but for the entire nation, for peace itself. The celebrations were immense, but they were tinged with sadness. The cost had been staggering. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians had perished. The country was scarred by destruction and the deep wounds of occupation and collaboration. The journey of rebuilding would be long and difficult, but France had endured. From the shadows of occupation and the heroism of the resistance, to the shores of Normandy and the jubilant liberation of Paris, the French people, with the help of their allies, had reclaimed their destiny. They had proven that even after the most devastating defeat, the spirit of liberty could rise again, strong, proud, and free. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories from history. Imagine waking up one morning to find your city, your country, is no longer your own. For the French in 1940, this was their grim reality. Life under Nazi occupation was a daily struggle. A strict curfew meant streets were deserted by nightfall. Food became scarce. Ration cards dictated every meal, and the black market thrived out of sheer desperation. German soldiers patrolled the boulevards of Paris, a constant, chilling reminder of their lost freedom. It was a life lived in shades of gray, under a cloud of fear and suspicion. But in this darkness, sparks of defiance began to glow. This was the birth of the French resistance. It wasn't one single army, but a scattered web of brave men and women from all walks of life. You had communists, Gaullists loyal to General de Gaulle in London, socialists, and ordinary patriots. They ran secret newspapers, helped downed Allied pilots escape, and sabotaged German supply lines. Their actions were small at first, but they were a powerful symbol of hope. A key challenge was unity. These different groups often had conflicting goals. That's where heroes like Jean Moulin stepped in. Sent by de Gaulle, Moulin risked everything to travel across France, meeting with clandestine leaders in secret. His mission was to unite these disparate factions into a single, coordinated force, the National Council of the Resistance. It was an incredibly dangerous task, and Moulin ultimately paid with his life. But his success was a turning point, transforming scattered resistance into a unified national movement. Then came D-Day, June 6, 1944. As Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, the French resistance rose up across the country in a massive, coordinated effort. They disrupted German communications, destroyed bridges, and delayed reinforcements, playing a crucial role in the success of the invasion. The climax was the liberation of Paris in August. After 4 years of occupation, French and Allied troops marched down the Champs-Élysées to the cheers of a jubilant crowd. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. But the fight wasn't over. The liberation of Paris didn't mean the end of the war in France. Fierce fighting continued. In the winter of 1944, German forces launched a desperate, massive counterattack in the Ardennes, known as the Battle of the Bulge. The fighting was brutal, some of the toughest of the war. At the same time, a vicious struggle raged for the regions of Alsace and Lorraine, which had been annexed by Germany. French and American soldiers fought tooth and nail, town by town, to reclaim this territory. It was only in early 1945 that all of France was finally, completely, liberated. The story of France's occupation and liberation is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the desire for freedom can ignite a fire that no oppressor can extinguish. Thank you for watching, and if you found this story as moving as I did, please like this video and subscribe for more chapters from history.